In this video, I'm going to show you 3 quick strategies that you can use to dramatically improve your squat in minutes. You could follow along with me and do this pre-squat or just work on it in your own time at home before going to the gym or whatever. Now, the first thing we want to look at is our ankle. The reason we're going to look at our ankle is as we squat, generally, because there's lots of ways we can squat, we'll see the tibia kind of tip forward as the knee comes forward and quads load as a result of trying to decelerate that movement. So we're coming down, tibia is coming forward. As a result of that tibia coming forward, we're seeing some sort of load through the back of the leg. And this relies on both calf range of motion and good movement through that ankle joint. So something we can do is grabbing a wedge or something where you can elevate the front of your foot a little bit. I'm going to pop my toes on a wedge here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lean forward and bring that knee, translating that knee forward until I feel a bit of a stretch through the back of the leg here. Now we could first hold that for around 30 seconds, but then what we're going to do is an isometric here. We're going to push our toes as hard as we can into the wedge, and we're going to feel this load up. Now I like to look at around 3 lots of 10 seconds. And in between those reps, we're going to stay in this position and lift our toes off the wedge. Now here we're loading up these muscles at the front of the shin, tibialis and these other muscles. And this might also help to pull us into these positions. So coming into it, knee coming forward, pushing down, 3 10 and 5 to 10 second holds. Now, for some of you, that's not going to be enough. It's going to be, your joint itself isn't moving well. Our talus joint might be a bit jammed up. A couple of things you can do there. With the wedge still, we're looking to come into a position where I'm going to let my knee come in and I'm going to encourage pronation of my foot here. Now, there's a lot more involved in this exercise that I don't really have time to go into here, but you could start to play with that and you can see there's movement in the joint here. Another strategy might be to rig something up where we pop a band around the ankle here and it's kind of going below these knobbly bits. And I'm going to have some resistance pulling back and I'm going to let my knee slide forward in and out. So I'm putting pressure on this joint, moving this joint back and encouraging this tipping of the tibia. So rather than thinking about this as stretching my calf, think about it as I'm trying to encourage this tipping forward of my tibia. That's important for our squat technique. Otherwise, we're going to have to sit backwards, or we're going to have to counter our ability to have that ankle move that way. We might see the shin stay vertical and the body tip forward. So this is one of the reasons that elevating your heels improves your squat technique, one of the reasons. So ideally, you would have better movement in your ankle rather than having to pop the heel up. Next thing we're going to look at is our adductor muscles, the muscles on the inside the leg here. Now, a lot of people don't see good recruitment of these muscles in their squat, whether that's weakness or just an issue with range of motion. And range of motion alone will inhibit your squat depth. So there's a lot of work we can do for these muscles here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop onto one knee here, and I've got my right leg out with the foot flat on the ground. I'm going to bring my hands onto the ground, and you'll see I'm going to try and move this hip towards the front of the other knee. So I'll just leave this hand here so you can see, and I'm dropping my shoulder, dropping my hip, and I'm trying to rotate everything to the ground here. When you do that, you should feel a good stretch come through here. Now, what I'm going to get you to do, hold this for around 30 seconds, and then we're going to push the foot as hard as we can into the ground for 10 seconds. Now we can get some bonus stuff happening with our glute here. If we push down for 10 seconds, we're going to lift the foot and hold for 5 to 10 seconds, and then come back in, rotate down. You might even be able to go a little bit further. So repeat that on both sides. It's nice to follow up with something that uses those muscles, I guess, in the squat pattern. So you could use some straps here to come into a wide leg position and come in and out of these Cossack glides. Or if you can just pop into them, you could just pop into some of these Cossack kind of squats too. Another good way to prep these muscles and get some good, I guess, neural relationships into these muscles before you're squatting. Good squat depth requires good hip flexion. So that's the movement where I guess my knee and my chest are coming towards each other. Now, one of the main limiters of hip flexion are the hamstring group of muscles. So doing some work around not just lengthening our hamstrings, but getting strong as we load through our full range is really important for a good squat technique. Something we need to remember though is, although this squat it's kind of a straight line movement, muscles don't move in a straight line, particularly as we come into our depth, our femur's rotating, muscles are responding in different planes. We should train them that way. So I call this exercise the three-way hamstring. I'm going to pop my leg up on a stool or bench or something here. My knee's going to be slightly bent. As I come forward, I'm lifting my chest and I start to feel my hamstring load at this highest point. If you want to get the lowest point too, you can straighten your knee, you can round your back, but we're going to target here because this is generally where we're more limited in this exercise. Hold for 30 seconds. You might need something to hold on to, but we're going to push down as hard as we can for 10 to 20 seconds and you'll feel almost like you're doing a max rep on your hamstrings here. Another really good way to prime them pre-squat, but also get some strength through that full range. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to supinate my foot or invert my foot, kind of rotate my big toe towards the ground, and I'm going to bring my left hand towards my foot, knee, wherever you can get to, and you can see I'm pulling my shoulder back. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to push down hard as I can for 10 seconds, and you feel the outside part of the hamstring complex load up. Then, I'll show you on the other side because it's easier to see. I'm going to turn my bottom foot away, and I'm going to start to lean down and even turn my little toe out, and I'm pushing my hip away to the right. And again, I'm going to hold, push down 10 to 20 seconds here. Now you'll obviously get your adductors a little bit here, but we could argue that, some of these are part of all the same kind of movement and response to movement, decelerating the same things. So we're never just stretching a muscle when we're stretching a muscle, we're stretching lots of things, but this is a good one to make sure all those things that load in those three planes are getting a bit of attention. So I said 3 strategies to improve your squat. This is a bit of a bonus one. Here we're going to look at patterning. Now, if you're doing these strategies before your squat session, which I think is a good idea, this is a really good way to, package all these things together into the pattern. But if you freak out a little bit about any stretching stuff pre-training, this also negates any of those potential effects on your muscle contraction and power. So sometimes poor squat patterns are a result of lack of firing through some of the muscles in our trunk. And it might be the reason why when we squat, we're leaning forward. As I said, this could be calves as well, but there's a lot going on in this movement, and I see this patterning exercise tidy up a lot of things. So we're just going to get some sort of weight. 5 to 10 kilos is probably pretty good, in front of the body. And this changes the levers in our body a little bit. So we've got a weight here, and we're going to come into wherever we want our feet to be. We're going to start by letting the hip hinge back a bit, knees come forward, and then we're going to come into our squat position here. So you might start to feel your own limitations. That might be a chance for you to come back and work on some of those things again that you might not have done enough work on. So I might just do, 5 to 10 reps and feeling where you might have any residual work to do. And then you come in to your squat session, hopefully squatting a lot better. So all these strategies fall in bits and pieces throughout my 4-phase system called Stretch Yourself Strong. If you want to find out a little bit more about that, you can see something in the description there. You can grab my new book, look at the programs. If you've got any questions, please post them below. Subscribe, like, share, all that stuff. Hope this helps. See you next one.